well for the people of Oyo State, whether rich or poor. Join Oriyomi Grassroots Mobilizer on www.oriyomigrassrootsmobilizers.com.ng. Again, www.oriyomigrassrootsmobilizers.com.ng. All your enquiries will be attended to, and we also welcome your comments. Let's join hands together, because together we can do it. OGM, Voice of the People, is the voice of God.
Akidibo 88.7 FM. The radio station that stays on top of the news all day, every day. We are like no other. First of its kind in Ibadan, constantly on the green, giving you the best of broadcasting 24 hours. Agidigbo 88.7 FM, the people's voice. Agidigbo 88.7 FM.
There's a lot to digest and a lot of voices to be heard. Stick to the frequency that amplifies those voices, stories and reports that make the difference. This is Akidibo News, 88.7 FM, the people's voice.
This is Kunle Amzat Studio. Agidigbo 88.7 FM. Welcome to News Around the World.
Good evening. Welcome to the News Around the World on Agidigbo 88.7 FM Ibadan, the most listened to radio station. I am Olajumoke Oladunjoye. The headlines: Federal government denies spending 8 trillion naira outside 2026 budget. Oyo police recover stolen vehicle, arrest 3 suspects in Ibadan Akure operation. NHS app to use AI to determine best service for patients. Trump to mark US 250th anniversary with campaign-style rally on National Mall. Flamingos take first leg advantage in World Cup qualifier. And now the details. The federal government has dismissed reports that it spent over 8 trillion naira outside the 2026 budget, describing the claim as inaccurate and a misrepresentation of the International Monetary Fund's 2026 Article 4 consultation report. The controversy followed earlier disclosure made by International Monetary Fund (IMF) that Nigeria left public spending equivalent to about 2% of GDP unreported in recent budgets, a development it said obscured the country's true financing needs and made the fiscal deficit appear smaller. However, in a statement issued today, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, said the allegation wrongly suggested that about 2% of Nigeria's gross domestic product was spent outside the budget approved by the National Assembly, insisting that the federal government does not run a shadow budget or spend public funds outside constitutional provisions. The minister further cited sections 80 to 83 and 162 of the 1999 Constitution, which stipulates that public funds can only be withdrawn and spent in line with laws enacted by the National Assembly, stating that all federal spending is carried out through Appropriation Act, Supplementary Appropriation Act, and other statutory authorities duly approved by the legislature. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Mr. Bernard Doro, has called for stronger collaboration between Nigeria and the European Union to enhance humanitarian response and support vulnerable populations amid declining global aid resources. Mr. Doro made the call during a series of high-level engagements in Brussels, Belgium, where he met with members of the European Parliament, as well as senior European Union officials to discuss humanitarian financing, social protection, and poverty reduction. The minister's position was contained in a statement issued on his behalf by Special Technical Advisor on Information Systems and Data Analysis, Abimbola Fashanu today, urging governments and developed partners to maximize limited development resources by moving away from fragmented interventions towards coordinated, efficient, and results-driven systems capable of delivering sustainable outcomes for vulnerable communities. Zaire State Police Command has recorded another major breakthrough in its sustained campaign against vehicle theft and other organized crimes with the successful recovery of a stolen vehicle and the arrest of 3 suspects linked to the criminal enterprise. The breakthrough followed a report lodged at the Agodi Divisional Police Headquarters on 3rd July 2026. According to the preliminary investigation into the complaint, revealed that the principal suspect, Femi Ojo, aged 60, engaged the complainant under the guise of purchasing a vehicular engine and other spare parts. While negotiations for the engine proved unsuccessful, he purchased a vehicle shaft and thereafter informed the complainant that he had identified another location where a suitable engine could be obtained, boarded a commercial motorcycle to the new location, directing the complainant to remain at the market with the purchased vehicle shaft pending further instructions. In furtherance of the criminal scheme, the suspect later telephoned the complainant and requested that he deliver the purchased vehicle shaft to the new location through a commercial motorcycle rider, and upon arriving at the designated location, the complainant discovered that the suspect had disappeared without a trace and immediately returned to where he had parked his vehicle, only to find that the vehicle had been stolen. Upon receipt of the report and armed with this fact, detectives of the command immediately commenced an intelligence-led investigation, deploying both technical and operational resources that culminated in the arrest of the principal suspect, Femi Ojo, in Akure, Ondo State. Building on this breakthrough, investigators extended the operation, leading to the arrest of Kayode Afolabi and Olatunji Mutiu, as well as the recovery of the stolen vehicle at the motor spare parts market in Akure. For generations, people have relied on herbs and other natural remedies to treat different illnesses. Today, while modern medicine has become widely accepted because of its regulated production and standard dosages, many Nigerians still use herbal medicine due to its perceived effectiveness and cultural significance. As herbal medicine continues to gain attention, concerns about its safety, proper use, and regulation has also become part of the conversation. Agidigbo FM News correspondent Rodiat Amzat examines the advancement of herbal medicine, the importance of NAFDAC approval, and why experts are calling for the responsible use of herbal products. Here is the report.
As the world became more modern, medicine also changed from traditional medicine like herbs to modern medicines like vaccines, antibiotics, and many other medicines. Many people began to trust modern medicine because it has clear dosages, is properly packaged, and is produced under regulated conditions. Before modern medicines became common, people treated illness with herbs, roots, leaves, and other natural remedies. These traditional medicines were used for many years and were passed down from one generation to another. However, as modern medicine became more available, many people gradually stopped relying on these natural treatments. Many people prefer modern medicine because they trust its dosage and cleanliness. Others continue to use herbal medicine because they believe it is natural, effective, and part of the tradition their parents and grandparents passed on to them. To shed more light on the advancement of herbal medicine, Dr. Abdulganiu Muritala Olayinka, CEO of a popular NAFDAC-approved herbal medicine company, explained the progress made in herbal medicine and the importance of NAFDAC approval in ensuring the safety and quality of herbal products.
Have the measurement now, unless you are good the person, you are not learn how to prepare the herbal machine and write everything. It's law of NAFDAC self. Any product, the herbal product you want to sell for the market, must write measurement how to use it there.
Speaking with Agidigbo FM News correspondent Dr. Abdulganiu Muritala Olayinka advised Nigerians to avoid wrong beliefs about herbal medicine and stressed the importance of using approved herbal products.
Ignorance is not allowed in the law. If the person produce the product out, he write the measurement there. With other third medicine self, must to check the place he write those it how to use it. If you don't know how to read it, you have some your children or your friend or your family number, and if you buy the product, you will see how to write everything there.
Dr. Abdulganiu Muritala Olainka also spoke on the effects of overdosing on herbal medicine. While both herbal and modern medicine continue to play important roles in healthcare, experts advise Nigerians to make informed choices and always use medicine responsibly. Rodiat Hamzat, Agidigbo FM News.
The Vicar of Emmanuel Anglican Church, Ado Layout, Reverend Timothy Adeyoju, has urged every Christian not to backslide and not to be deceived, emphasizing that it is the will of God for us not to backslide but to live the life of Christ. In his sermon today, Reverend Adeyoju referenced Romans 12 to explain key things Christians must do to avoid backsliding, advising that there is hope for a backslider, while relating this message to the parable of the prodigal son, who repented after squandering his inheritance.
The man we call the prodigal son, the younger son of a rich father who left everything for a far country, wasted it all. But in verse 18, he come back to his senses and said, I will go back to my father. I have sinned against my father, I have sinned against heaven, I'm not worthy to be called his son again. That is the hope for a backslider. The Lord intends every one of us to remain faithful and never to allow the deception of sin and war and worldliness draw us away from Him. He's calling you, if you are backslided, there is hope for you to come back to Him. In Him there is safety, in Him there is protection, in Him you have your being. So, call to repentance involves that you must recognize your stage and you must come to your senses and repent.
The man of God further noted that many prayers are not answered today because people lack humility, therefore charging Christians to be careful in their attitude towards sinners, emphasizing accepting sinners into Christ's fold, just like the prodigal son, through preaching and love is the key to Christians' prayers being answered. Now it is time to link up with our United Kingdom for the foreign news.
News from Hamzat Studio at Gidigbo FM. United Kingdom, I am Olushola Damlola. Artificial intelligence software will be used on NHS app to determine which service is most appropriate for patients in England. The new triage tool will ask patients a series of questions and will use the responses to direct them to a GP appointment, pharmacy, A&E, community service, or offer self-care advice. NHS England said the update will reach more than 200,000 patients in the next 12 months and will be available to all app users by April 2028 as part of a major overhaul of its technology. The rollout has been largely welcomed, but some health bodies urge the NHS to prioritize patient safety, confidentiality, and inclusion as it grows more reliant on AI. Pope Leo marked July 4th with an appeal to Americans to receive immigrants with compassion and generosity as he made a visit to the front line of the migrant crisis in the Mediterranean. In a letter released soon after he arrived on the southern Italian island Lampedusa, the Pope said that protecting human life meant welcoming and assisting immigrants whose hopes, sacrifices, and contribution had formed part of the history of the United States. The Chicago-born Pope was greeted by a song while he called for gestures that will make the world of today and tomorrow more human. The Pope also called on European leaders to put in place plans for receiving, protecting, supporting, and integrating migrants so that no one is forced to emigrate. And that ends the news from Hamzat Studio at Gidigbo FM. United Kingdom, I am Olushola Damlola.
Welcome back. We shall also be moving to our Maryland studio, United States, for more foreign news.
News from Kule Hamzat Studio at Gidigbo FM, United States. I am Oluwatosin Sonya. President Donald Trump marked the 250th anniversary of the United States on Saturday with a campaign-style speech that repeated his calls for new voting restrictions, warned that communists could gain ground in the country, and circled through what he touted as his achievements. After a storm-related delay of nearly 2 hours, Trump appeared on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. to deliver a speech that mixed broad appeals to patriotism with pointed attacks on perceived ideological threats at home and abroad. Trump lauded American achievements such as war victories, the lunar landing and the Wright brothers' pioneering flight, as well as the United States system of government in general. But he also urged Congress to pass stalled legislation that would limit mail ballots and require proof of citizenship to register to vote, said he had wiped out Iran's military, and cautioned against the rise of communism in the United States. 3 sons of slain Iranian leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei prayed beside his coffin and those of 4 other family members on Sunday, but Mujtaba, the son who succeeded him as Iran's supreme leader, did not make an appearance. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, alongside several other family members, was killed in an airstrike when the United States and Israel launched a war on Iran on February 28. In a show of public devotion to the state and revolutionary zeal, the Islamic Republic is staging a week of mass funeral processions for Khamenei, including taking his remains to Shiite religious sites in neighboring Iraq. After a day lying in state indoors for senior Iranian leaders and foreign officials to visit, Khamenei's coffin was displayed outside on Saturday under glass, along with those of his daughter-in-law, son-in-law, and 4-month-old granddaughter. On Sunday, tens of thousands more mourners, including soldiers, seminary students, and ordinary men and women, filed into Mosala to pay their last respect to Khamenei and his family, waving flags emblazoned with promises of revenge against America and Israel. And that is the news from Kule Amzat Studio, Gidigbo FM, United States. I am Oluwatosin Sonya.
Welcome back once again. In the exciting world of sports, Nigeria's under-17 women's team, the Flamingos, will head into next week's decisive second leg with a narrow advantage after edging Benin Republic 3-2 in an entertaining FIFA under-17 Women's World Cup on Saturday in Ikenne, Ogun State. The first leg encounter at the Remo Star Stadium lived up to expectations as both sides produced an attacking display in the final round of the African qualifiers for the 2026 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup, while the visitors stunned the home crowd in the 16th minute when Romain Gandunu unleashed a powerful left-footed strike from outside the penalty area that beat Nigerian goalkeeper Jane Ijigigo. Nigeria responded almost immediately. A minute after falling behind, Captain Amoni Chidi came close to leveling the score, but her chipped effort sailed just over the crossbar after a good build-up involving Queen Joseph. The pressure eventually paid off in the 26th minute when Joseph restored parity with a well-executed lob that left Benin goalkeeper Elise Kumpaga stranded. Nigeria's persistence was rewarded in the 62nd minute. Substitute Kindness Ifeanyi tested Kumpaga with a fair shot, and Adegbui reacted quickest to convert the rebound and hand the Flamingos a 2-1 lead. The hosts, however, restored their lead almost immediately. 2 minutes after Bennett's equalizer, Ifeanyi rose highest to head home from a corner kick and score what proved to be the winning goal. The result gives Nigeria a slender advantage ahead of the return leg, which will be played at the Stade Keg in Lomé, Togo next Saturday, as the winner over 2 legs will qualify for the 2026 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup, scheduled to be hosted by Morocco. To wrap up the news this evening, here is a recap of the headlines. Federal government denies 8 trillion naira spending 8 trillion naira outside 2026 budget. Oyo police recover stolen vehicle, arrest 3 suspects in Ibadan Akure operation. NHS app to use AI to determine best service for patients. Trump to mark US 250th anniversary with campaign-style rally on National Mall. Flamingos take first leg advantage in World Cup qualifier. And before we go this evening, here is a quick tip. Do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. Finally, we've come to the end of the news around the world on Agidigbo 88.7 FM Ibadan, the most listened to radio station. I am Olajumoke Oladunjoy. Thank you for listening. Good evening.
News is information, and information is power. At Agidigbo 88.7 FM, we bring the news from top to bottom.
The Oyo State Independent Electoral Commission (OISEC) has called for continuous collaboration.
We bring you reports from Oyo State.
The Oyo State House of Assembly has called for thorough investigation.
Southwest Nigeria and the rest of the world.
Has clarified that the body did not receive any cash support from international development.
Trust us to keep you informed every hour, every day.
Agidigbo 88.7 FM, the people's voice.
Agidigbo 88.7